Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in what we give and what we preserve. We shall nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth. No man is good enough to govern another man without that other's consent. I say this is the leading principle, the sheet anchor of American republicanism. You think slavery is right and should be extended, while we think slavery is wrong and ought to be restricted. That, I suppose, is the rub. It certainly is the only substantial difference between us. This is a world of compensations, and he who would be no slave must consent to have no slave. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under a just God cannot long retain it. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. I leave you, hoping that the lamp of liberty will burn in your bosoms until there shall no longer be a doubt that all men are created free and equal. The one victory we can ever call complete will be that one which proclaims that there is not one slave or one drunkard on the face of God's green earth. All I ask for the Negro is that if you do not like him, let him alone. If God gave him but little, that little let him enjoy. Let us remember that all American citizens are brothers of a common country and should dwell together in the bonds of fraternal feeling. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Tact, the ability to describe others as they see themselves. Be with a leader when he is right, stay with him when he is still right, but leave him when he is wrong. You can tell the greatness of a man by what makes him angry. You cannot help people permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. I don't like that man, I must get to know him better. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. When I'm getting ready to reason with a man, I spend 1/3 of my time thinking about myself and what I'm going to say, and 2/3 thinking about him and what he is going to say. You can't make a weak man strong by making a strong man weak. My concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. I'm a slow walker, but I never walk back. Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. I happen temporarily to occupy this big White House. I am living witness that any one of your children may look to come here as my father's child has. A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure, permanently half slave and half free. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. I desire to so conduct the affairs of the administration that if at the end, when I come to lay down the reins of power, I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall have at least one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves. The legitimate object of government is to do for the people what needs to be done, but which they cannot by individual effort for it all, or do so well for themselves. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. I am slow to learn and slow to forget that which I have learned. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. All I have learned, I learned from books. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts and beer. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. Get books, sit yourself down anywhere and go to reading them yourself. A capacity and taste for reading gives access to whatever has already been discovered by others. I will prepare and someday my chance will come. My mind is like a piece of steel, very hard to scratch anything on it, and almost impossible after you get it there to rub it out. Education does not mean teaching people what they do not know. It means teaching them to behave as they do not behave. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. You cannot build character and courage by taking away people's initiative and independence. Every head should be cultivated. Those who write clearly have readers, those who write obscurely have commentators. The greatest fine art of the future will be the making of a comfortable living from a small piece of land. I have a congenital aversion to failure. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to success is more important than any other thing. If you would win a man to your cause, first convince him that you are his sincere friend. The probability that we may fall in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. It shall not deter me. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me, and I didn't have the heart to let him down. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. The greatest fine art of the future will be the making of a comfortable living from a small piece of land. I have a congenital aversion to failure. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to success is more important than any other thing. If you would win a man to your cause, first convince him that you are his sincere friend. The probability that we may fall in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. It shall not deter me. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me, and I didn't have the heart to let him down. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on.